Alright, so we're just going to start our painting here of the mountains and the swing. We're going to start with some white and blue. I bought this large jar of white during the beginning of the pandemic when there was no more paint, so this is how I get my paint out. I hope you have a tube. It's a lot easier. I also taped the edges of my painting because I wanted to see what it would be like. You don't have to do that. You can make your painting go all the way to the end. Edges of the canvas, either way is fine. Whatever you want to do. Alright, we'll dig into our background. We're just gonna put a really dull layer of blue on here. You can put a little layer of blue mixed with white and then go back in with some white to make it look like some wispy clouds if you want. You can go back in with some dark blue, make some darker clouds. We're actually really not going to see that much of this in the painting, so it doesn't have to be too technical. You can go ahead and put some other clouds in here if you want. That would be pretty cute. Again, you're probably not going to see very much of them because they're just going to be a little portion of the picture, but that's okay. I can do a little cloud for you. So I sometimes have, when I do art videos, I'll just let it play. Well, I'm doing the art too, so feel free to do that, or feel free to fast forward. Yeah, go at your own pace. We're just going to need a really little bit of white to start our clouds off. And then you just take your brush in a little circle, and make any shape cloud you want. Because clouds, there is no wrong way to make a cloud. Now I'm gonna have to make a couple more because this one's pretty lonely. Alright, we can now move on to make the mountains. We're just gonna use a little bit of green, blue, and white to make our mountains. We kind of want them to look like they're off in the distance, so they're gonna be a lighter color, and we'll mix them with white. I'm just gonna use this pointy tip brush. I'm not really sure what the name of this brush is. But we're gonna go ahead and use that one. Also, you don't even have to do blue and green. You can use any color combination you want. You have purple mountains or orange mountains, either way. But I'm gonna do these. Alright, so we're gonna start about halfway through to make our mountains. You can make them as tall or not as you want. Then we're just going to go ahead and fill them in with the same color we just made. And then if you want to fill in the paint about halfway down the canvas or a little bit more, it kind of makes your life easier later. It'll be easier to spread the paint for your next set of mountains too. Then I'm going to mix a little bit of a darker color, and I'm going to pick on one side of the mountain for every little peak, and I'm going to draw a little zigzag down the middle and then shade in only to one side, whichever side you choose, left or right. Also, apparently I can't paint and think at the same time. So I'm just gonna touch up my little blue here and we'll move on. Alright, so we'll go ahead and make the darker color. I'm going to add some more blue to make our next set of mountains. We want it to be darker than what we just did, but not so dark it's overpowering because they're still off in the distance a little bit, so we want a really good happy medium. So we're just going to start about halfway down here. And most of the mountain peaks are going to be below the mountains we just made, but there's going to be one peak that goes above, so it'll kind of cover the mountains that we just did. And then we're going to go ahead and fill in the mountains like we did on the first set. Okay, and then we're gonna go down the middle of the mountain peaks again with a little bit of a lighter color. Oh, excuse me, a darker color. And just pick one side of the mountain and draw a little zigzag down the middle and then fill in whichever side it was that you picked. So sometimes you want to just make sure you have a really nice point on your brush tip so it makes it easier to draw the little mountain peaks. Next we're going to use this brush here and we're going to make like a little misty color. It's still wet up there so it'll blend really nicely, so we're just going to go back and forth with this flat brush. Pretty sure that's the technical term also. Feeling good about it. So you can go ahead and you can just make a white layer and then go ahead and grab some of the green that we just used. You can add a little bit of blue if you want. Going for a little bit of a lakey effect on this one. But you can make it whatever you want to make it because it's your painting. I do then want some grass, so I am going to go in with some green here. I'm going to make some little darker spots and then I will go in with some dark brown later while it's still kind of wet, and then I can blend it together. Alright, so this is where we're at currently. Looking alright. Then we're going to go ahead with this pointy brush I still don't know the name of And we're going to do the outline of the tree. For trees, I like to mix some blue with some red and some brown, really because I like the color it makes, but I think it gives it a more natural tree look, to be honest. So we're going to want to start about halfway up. Again, you can put your tree wherever you want. If you want to frame the mountains you just made, go ahead and leave space for that. I'm going to cover up some of the mountains we just made because I kind of like the sky a little bit. And again, trees aren't perfect, so if you go in a weird way, that's okay. Trees are really weird shaped. For real, go look at them. Then we're just going to go ahead and fill in the tree with the color that we just made. I'm going to make a couple other branches that come off the tree just because I like how it looks. You don't have to. So then we're going to make a tree bark. We're going to mix some red and some blue together. This is going to look like it's not really doing anything, but we're just going to dab little parts, and you want to make sure that you let some of the really dark brown that we just made show through. We're going to do a few layers of these in different colors, so don't worry if you make a mistake, you probably won't be able to tell. Again, trees aren't perfect. Then we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of white to the color that we just did and do another layer of dabs over top. Again, you can let some of the previous color show through, and if you want to put a little more of the color towards the top, that's where the light will hit it. And then once you get towards the end of your tree branch, you don't have to do as many dots because it'll be more shaded looking. Then we're going to go in with some pretty bright white. So this is going to make all the other colors that we just made stand out a little bit. It'll kind of act like a highlight. So we can go ahead and make our leaves now. I have this sponge. If you have a cleaning sponge, you can cut one up. Or if you have a Q-tip, you can use Q-tips. Or you can use your paintbrush. Whatever works for you. We're going to go ahead and get our blue paint. And we'll start with that, and we might mix it with some brown later. We're also going to use some green. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make the darker portion with the blue, and then what we'll do is we'll go back in with the green to give it a little bit of dimension, and then we'll go in with some white. So you can make these wherever you want to make them. Have at it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the rope for our swing. So we'll take a little bit of yellow and brown, and we're going to use an angled brush. I don't think that's the technical name, but we're going to say it's the angled brush. And I would suggest, if you don't know exactly where you want your swing to go, stop before you think you should and kind of eyeball it. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bit of white in between this green and this bluish layer to kind of give it a little bit of a misty effect. And so what you want to do is you want to take a dry brush and put a little bit of white paint on it and dab most of it off, and then just kind of rub it in like a little circular motion. Okay, Now we'll make a little field of flowers, because that sounds like a good time. So we're going to mix a little bit of a darker green and start in the back with little short strokes all the way across. And then as you make your layers, you'll want to make your strokes a little bit longer. And as you come more towards yourself, you want to make the grass lighter since it's in the front.
Can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. My summer love. Been waiting for you, my love. I can't forget the day we met. You look so fly in your red Corvette. Your hair, your look, your everything. When I see it all, I knew that you were mine. I'm in love with your hair, your lips, your silhouette in the moonlight shine. With my love, you won't ever be alone. My summer love, been waiting for you, my love. Completely a fool, been waiting for you, my love. Head over heels, I'm blinded by what I feel. My love is forever yours. You have my heart, you have my soul, you have my whole, you have my control. Love me tender, love me sweet. With you I know that I'm complete.
So now my strokes are a little bit longer and my paint color is a little bit lighter. And I think we're going to make some purple flowers. So we're going to start in the way back, and what we're going to do is make a pointy tip here on our paintbrush, and we're just going to make little dots on all of these blades of grass that we just made. These are going to be pretty small towards the back, and then once you get towards the front, your little dots for your flowers can be bigger. So now I'm going to mix some yellow and some white, and I'm just going to put really little dots in the middles of the flowers that we just made, so that you can kind of differentiate each individual flower. I would recommend not doing the far back ones because you wouldn't see that in real life anyway. So go ahead and just do the ones that are more closer towards the front. That's fine. If you want, you can also do a lighter shade of purple in your flowers, kind of to give it some dimension and separate them also. Now that we've got under the swing figured out, we can finish our swing. So what you're going to do is make kind of like a little V shape for the ropes that are going to hold the swing. Then you make just kind of like a little box. Depending on what size canvas you're using, make sure to make the swing, sized appropriately. This one, my canvas isn't very big, it's 8 by 10, so I'm going to make a pretty thin swing. Then we're just going to take a light brown and fill in the swing. I'm gonna do this with the flat edge of my paintbrush just because I can get it more accurate. Then we're going to go ahead and put some layers into our swing so it kind of looks old. We're going to go in with some lighter paint, some lighter brown paint, and then we'll go in later with a little bit of darker towards the edges of the wood. So now we can go ahead and use our really dark brown paint to make the edges, the 3D edges of our swing. We're going to go ahead and use our black paint to make holes to show where the rope goes in on the swing. So it'll just look like a little U shape. Nothing really big. You could probably skip this step if you wanted. Then we're going to use this super tiny brush that my camera won't even focus on to make our vines. So we're going to make those a darker green, and we're going to start at the top of our rope and just make an S motion back and forth, but just make sure that when you do it, you can go make the line go in front of the rope, but then make sure you skip it when it goes behind. So that way it looks like it's actually wrapped around it. Then we're going to go ahead and make our leaves. So if you just press really lightly with the tip and then let off, it'll make a leaf just like that. That's how we're going to use this brush to make the leaves on the vines. And then remember, you can make these leaves go in multiple different directions, you know, whatever you want to do.
You have my heart, you have my soul, you have my whole, you have my control. Love me tender, love me sweet, with you I know that I'm complete. I'm in love with the summer's day, for you I'd give my life away. Never leave me, never let me go, my summer love, be waiting for you, my love. My summer love, be waiting for you, my love. My love is forever yours.
Hey, and then we're done with our painting. This is what we came up with. Pretty good. Alright. Make sure you show me how yours turned out. I'm going to open this like a little kid on Christmas so I can see how it looks when you tape the edges, because I've never done that before. Just thought I'd try it out. And then make sure you comment and tell me how you liked the tutorial, if you want me to slow things up or speed them. things down and speed them up in the comments so I know. You can also let me know if there's other paintings that you want to try with me, and we can do that. Or if there's any other crafts you want to try. Super love me some crafting time. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll try to do one of these a week. Thanks.